There you are. Oh, I thought we'd have to do the show without you, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting will be a thrill. Grandpa and chill, grandson and friends. Podcasting Grandpa and chill will be a thrill, grandson and friends. With your hosts, Grandpa Barton, Brandon Fox, Phines Jackson, and Sierra Dawes. This is Grandpa and Chill.
Do you want me to introduce the show, or what's going on?
I would love you too. I would love for you to introduce the show, Grandpa.
Well, my original thought was to try to figure out how we can have a more peaceful, loving society, which I think is a good idea, but it's a pretty broad subject. But I thought maybe possibly we could start out with some issues with regard to the post office. I don't know if you know, but the government is slowing down mail delivery. Uh, there's different reasons for it. One is the fact that the post office has been losing money for a long time, and this administration is not willing to provide them with additional funding. The other reason is what we're told is that the postmaster, who was assigned by the present administration, wants to slow it down because he doesn't want uh, uh, mail-in ballots, mail-in voting. That he feels that it would be against his best interest or against the best interests of the Republicans. So I want to see what other people think about this. I know for me, the first time in my life, Monday a week ago and Monday 2 weeks ago, I received no mail delivery, and I believe the post office personnel and the head of the post office union said that they're just overwhelmed because of this slowing down from the postmaster general. So that's pretty much what I thought maybe we could start with.
Mm.
Anybody have any comments about that?
Yeah, always.
Okay, Finest.
First, yeah, on July 13th, I sent a box from my house in Indiana to here, and I still have yet to get my box.
Dang.
I am very upset. All right.
Wow.
That's the one thing. Second of all, this is great for the funding. How about we just have cops deliver packages and spit them on horses, be like the
There you
Pony
go.
Express. It'd be
Put that
great.
money to use.
They'd have.
Might work
I
better.
I'd feel really cool if I was a cop with a gun and a horse and packages.
They got all speaking British accents. Like,
Ooh.
Here's your package, sir.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just say, yeah. You don't even have to
It's
worry about defunding the police anymore.
There
You
you
can just be
go.
like, here, I have a new job for you.
Since you need all this money, we can throw some extra taxes in there.
I'm going to try
Here,
to
take
reposition my camera.
reposition it, Grandpa.
Yeah, it's a little, my head's up a little high, and all you're seeing is the
Oh,
back of the
Yeah. That's true.
monitor.
yeah.
I'm going to
It
try
just
to
looks like
raise
you're
it
in
up.
one of those Charlie Brown comic books where like they're talking behind the ledge.
Oh yeah. What's that show? Home Improvement. With the neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
Man, that brings me back to age 12. Tim Allen and the
Tim
dude
Allen. Yeah,
who,
yeah.
yeah, the sidekick on the show.
I remember like
I don't.
blew my mind when I found out he had like cocaine at one point in his life, and I was like, oh my god,
You
Home
looked at
Improvement guy.
Tim Allen and got surprised that he. Okay.
Yes, extremely.
That's why he had to make those sounds. Oh.
That's where he got it from.
The
That's where he learned
nasal
it.
drip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you better now, Grandpa?
Yeah, I'm
looks
fine.
good.
So it doesn't sound like you guys are too much concerned about the mail situation. So
I mean, I'm
No.
concerned about it. It's just like, I mean, every Tuesday the president decides to do something illegal that he doesn't have the power to do, and then every other agency of government that's supposed to like prevent him from doing it is like, okay, and then they got to duke it out in the courts for like 8 more months. So I mean, this is it's really really bad, but like surprising, no, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
I
well,
guess it's pretty.
we're not going to have a fair vote if they don't deliver the mail on time.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's important. So let's get over to the idea of trying to make this a better society, a more loving and caring society. Any Do you have any thoughts about this? Anyone?
um
A more
solutions.
understanding society, that we understand each other better, that we care about one another.
Hmm. I think um maybe if there was more face to face on like Twitter and it wasn't like so much anonymous with the name, people wouldn't be so rude. So then the face to face arguments on there would maybe be nicer. But I think the isolation, from other people makes it really hard for people to like see other people's point of view. So closer communities possibly be cool. Um,
Yeah, hopping on the social media thing. I mean, I think uh, I'm off of it at present, and it sometimes I slip up and I like reactivate my Facebook and like my mental health like immediately goes way down, and it's weird that this thing like we've never had it in all of human civilization, like this insane social atmosphere, and now it's such a big part of like what we are, um like that it almost always feels like it's used for bad now. I mean, not always, but I don't know, there's a lot of it's engineered to be addictive and
yeah,
pull,
it's kind of weird that
rapid.
we're like, sorry, it's
No, no, no,
it's
go
kind of
ahead.
weird that we're social animals and we're like the best when we're really really social. And but what about social media? So like, does it hit like a certain threshold and then it starts to become like memes and dick pics, or does it maybe?
Grandpa, why are you smirking?
I'm smiling. I'm not. If it looks like a smirk, that's just the way my face is wrinkled up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um
um
yeah, I don't like social media. It makes me sad, but you would think that people will make you happy. So it does. This is kind of odd that's the case.
Grandpa,
So what?
you've never been on social media, right?
No, I have not.
But you the premise and the underbelly of it you get completely, right? Like
Repeat what you just said.
like do you sort of understand, like for me I feel like social media has really shifted culture, news, the way that the news is spread, the way people interact, all this stuff. And it's interesting to me to talk to someone who's never been on social media, because like if I had never been on social media and I was watching all this stuff, I would be like, why are all these changes so large and rapid? But I feel like once you're on it, you're like, oh, this is why. Like,
Hmm. So you think
yeah.
it's a positive thing, obviously.
No, I mean,
Oh,
it is what it is. I think there's positives and negatives to it, but it's such a big influence, and I feel like you're like what you're seeing going on it has a lot to do with people being on social media now.
Hmm.
is there a lot of false information being spread on social media?
Constantly.
Scientifically, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
In
by
every way.
Russians,
In every
yeah,
Yeah.
way. By every
Yeah.
person.
So do you
yeah.
think so? Social media has made us less. Do you think peaceful or more peaceful as people? You think it's made it like? Because I think it's really done nothing. Like it just made more eyes on us. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
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 and
yeah,
people sit at a computer screen all day long rather than actually getting together physically and having interactions physically, and that's
yeah.
partly because of the social media, partly because of cell phones. So there's much less actual interaction between human beings today, physical interaction.
Yeah, and probably even more so because of the whole pandemic. So, but there's got to be a like hope that we're going to get better and more peaceful, even though we're going to be more on screens. Yeah, at least hope
Well,
they are. Yeah.
this is a very sensitive issue, but how do you think that we can improve um, uh, our sociability and trust between the races, between
Mm.
minorities and the races? And what can we do to improve that?
Punish racists.
Pardon?
Cash initiatives.
Punish racists.
I'm sorry. I apologize, but I didn't quite understand what you were saying.
You have to punish racists when they're being
Oh,
racist,
punishment.
whether
Okay, right.
yeah, whether it's the law or just your basic peers acknowledging that you are being racist. Like people are more afraid. I think a lot of people are more afraid of the word than the act. Like you could be ridiculous all day long, but if someone says, that was kind of racist. Have you ever seen that happen where somebody just like lost their mind because someone said they might have been acting a bit racist in one moment?
Mm.
Some people go crazy about it, and
Yeah.
that's the big thing, is that what upsets a lot of minorities is just that people do this stuff and then there's no repercussion, there's just no consequence for it, whereas the consequence for having something like that perpetrated upon you is like the emotional trauma, whatever physically happens to you. There could be like financial or like career consequences for you just kind of existing as a person of color. So I feel like
Yeah.
consequences are a major factor.
Or at least like what's the word? Not reinforcing it, because like you're saying, it could be the exact opposite. Like when you call someone a racist, their pride and their namesake gets hurt so bad that they will punish you for thinking that. Like, how dare you think I'm racist? Let me
Right?
show you. Which is probably not the way to like react to such things. Yeah, yeah. So um,
Do you think that is there any difference? Do you think there's a difference in different geographical areas in the United States with regard to the way people feel, towards racism? Is
yeah,
there
for
is there
sure.
I've always thought that the South is more racist than the North, but I don't know if that's actually the case.
I mean, maybe outwardly in the sense that like Mississippi has just decided to change their flag, but only because of the financial consequence that they're
Yeah.
facing because of it. But like, I think it was, I don't even know because it happens so often. I think Eric Garner was in New York. Um,
Mhm.
if you like keep up with any of the drama that was going on the last few months between like the mayor and the governor and the public and the police, and it was like none of them could stick to like one stance or one statement on the issue, which was, I felt, was very simple. But like that kind of like it just happens everywhere. It's just a matter of like how many people in that area care when it happens, or like who's there really to like record it or get evidence of it.
And I
It's
Yeah.
believe that the
crazy
younger
how
generation is much less prejudiced than the older generation. Am I wrong about that? The
Um,
young people.
To a certain extent. I mean, it's the like a new Jim Crow type of things. There's different
Mm-hmm.
types of even though there still are lynchings and stuff, but they go from like beatings and lynchings publicly to redlining to like you can't live in my neighborhood to you can't get this job to we're gonna sit over here, and there's social outlining. I mean, there is still racism just in different formats. There's still a way that shows superiority and just it just becomes more politically correct, I guess, or a little bit harder to see. But still nonetheless malicious. I think it almost gets harder to pinpoint, like when you're saying someone's racist, when it's so hard to pinpoint that when sometimes they don't even know that they're showing what's the word, entitlement or superiority. They don't even know that they're doing, they just that's just how
I think a lot of
society. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of it too is with like I think younger people and kids, like you may find like one kind of like needle in a haystack of like just an outwardly racist like child, which is bizarre to see, but there is so much like just implicit racism. Like where I grew up, I was like my whole education was in like PWIs, or like predominantly white institutions
Hmm.
or schools. So when, like, in my experience, there's just so much. One, there weren't a lot of Black people or other people of color in like the schools that I went to, and it's just a lot of it, I think, is just like almost like a fear or like an anxiety of being around people of color because you don't know, you necessarily, I guess, don't know them. Like, you don't know what to expect. Like, your family has never like put you in a situation or like even really explained to you anything about people of different races. And so like young people and like kids are like kind of going into life not knowing how to interact with different people of different backgrounds. And so it leads them to kind of like, I don't know, they just don't take it as seriously. And that in itself is like, it results in like racism against other people. Like, that ignorance can be hurtful.
We have to learn love and respect for everyone,
Yeah.
and that's the hard thing. And I'm hopeful that we're certainly moving in that direction, and that we're all equal in the eyes of in the eyes of the Creator.
Yeah.
Do you feel like love and respect? Oh, sorry, I'm lagging a bit. Like love and respect are innate, and then these behaviors are learned, or do you feel like it's the opposite?
Who you asking?
Well, anybody, but
Well,
Grandpa.
music is the thing that really I love the cultural music of soul, and I just love it. Like all the soul singers, and
Hmm.
Ray Charles is like one of my favorites. I don't know about you guys. You know the song every uh, I believe I can fly. You play with that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Pretty song.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd bring up that this subject because I think it's an important subject in our life. It'll move on beyond what's going on right now from an administration that, for me, I don't think very highly of. But,
Yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a
It is a
good
good question.
thing to
There,
talk about.
there's a there's a bunch of ways that we can help race relations. There's like a 10-point program to eradicate racism in America that Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers made. That's pretty awesome. But no, I think it's mixing. People just have to hang out more. Just
Hmm.
have to like we have to understand that everyone has a mom or a dad or a passion and love, and once they start seeing that, hope. I don't know. They've been seeing that for a long time. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see how I
see.
feel. We'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful though. That as honestly technology grows, yeah, with the more eyes and more communication, we can see people struggling from here to Lebanon and back, and understand that everybody's struggling, and we can all help each other, and that makes us all feel good because we're all like, what's that? Egocentric. We all want to make ourselves feel good, so just help everybody out. It could be a big circle jerk. It'd be great.
Yeah. Going back to something Sierra said, I think it's crazy how it's financial consequences that, like, like with what was going on with the football team, like people only move with money in so many circumstances.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, and I sometimes think that really the dividing factor amongst people is certainly race is a big factor, but I think financial situation is also a very big factor. The
Hmm.
finances between the wealthy and the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You Would a rich person have fun hanging out with a poor person? Do you think they'd be like, "Wow, this is how
It
you have
doesn't
fun"?
happen too often.
I only see it in like those YouTube videos where like rich like teenage girls are like, "Oh my god, I have to go to Walmart? What?" Like,
This is so cool. Oh my god.
I'm gonna bring $500. Do you think I can get an outfit? Like, they're crazy. They're
There's
crazy. They think it's
there's a whole
funny.
YouTube
But that,
guy
yeah,
who's super famous because he just gives people like $1 million. Like that's the
yeah, but
entire premise of his channel.
that's not counting as like I want like a poor person and a rich person not give any money to each other. Just hang out and have fun. Like go to the park or something.
Maybe.
Do you think they can do it? Or if
Mm,
the or the or
maybe.
the, or the poor person's like, get out of my yard
I'd be mad if a rich person was like just trying to hang out with me, but like I don't know. I would be mad
for
if it was like a
funsies?
real social experiment type situation. I would just be mad at it all. Like it's like when people. I was just telling my mom the other day that like I feel a certain type of way when people go to like impoverished areas just to do journalism or like
Yeah.
just to like make a story or do a documentary, but then they just leave, and I'm like, I still don't have any running water. Like I still don't have this. Like you just
Um,
took a picture, said, "Oh wow," and then you kind of just left. Like you didn't even bring me like some Dasani or like some Aquafinas. Like I don't know. I'd feel it.
it's the beginning of a budding friendship.
I don't
Sierra, that's
know.
all that is.
I don't know. I've had lots of friends of like different like socioeconomic classes, and it's just like it's it's weird to not acknowledge it, but you can like accept that you're living in somewhat different spheres of life. But it's kind of
It
weird to
is.
not acknowledge.
I don't think I have a close friend out of my like range of like money making. I mean, besides like my parents, I guess, and
Hmm.
people like that are. But I don't think I have a legit friend that's not in the same economic class as me. I do have different friends of race though.
Yeah,
Good point. Good point. We need to get rich friends. Everyone, get rich friends
I really
and
could use some rich friends
a
right now.
a poor friend as well.
Well,
I won't.
are you guys more comfortable, let's say, with someone of your own race or a minority, or vice versa, Brandon, with someone of a Caucasian or white? Let's say if you were taking an Uber or you were being waited on at a restaurant, are you more comfortable with someone, or do you feel pretty much it doesn't make a difference?
It doesn't really make a difference to me.
Yeah, it goes
Okay.
back to that. Sorry, Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
Oh no, my thing lagged out. I didn't say. I was just listening.
Oh, I think it goes right back to that social class thing. 'Cause I'm really got that in my head. If I got into a car, a Uber, like you said, and it was a dusty guy, or if he was like, looked lesser than of money wise, I might feel a little uncomfortable. And the same thing if he came in there, no matter his color, he could be white or black, either or. I'm like, oh, you're dusty. And then vice versa, if they were really rich and I got into the car with them, I would be like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to be in here. They're too rich to be in the same car. I wouldn't think their color so much. Maybe if they're black, I'd be like, what are you doing taking an Uber? But uh, I think it wouldn't be the color that bothered me. I do like the social class thing. I think I have something to think about with that.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's about the refinement of the person, or the civility of them, or the neatness of them, than it is
Yeah,
a racial thing. I think so.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I still feel like that's something that needs to be checked though. Like I should be wondering why I feel so uncomfortable getting in a car with this person that is, in my eyes, I guess, lesser than or not. I mean, see that's what people should be looking at themselves. Period. Of like, hey, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like I feel uncomfortable in this car with this person? Is it because I feel like I'm better than that person? And it probably does feel that because of that, and I need to probably check myself.
So
Um,
that's sort of a prejudice in itself,
yeah,
but
it's
it's
yeah. I have a privilege
understandable.
and a prejudice. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an understandable prejudice. You want to be with somebody that is, that you're comfortable with.
Or at least can buy me lunch.
So,
That
do you
doesn't want
guys
to
want to
happen.
move on to some other topic? We've explored this a little bit. I think we could probably explore it at a later time,
Yeah.
uh, when we've had some time to think about it. But are there any other
Well, I
topics?
will.
Go ahead.
Just about the neatness thing. Like, I'm not neat, but like, you know, I
Would you stay in the Uber if Brandon got in the Uber with you?
yeah,
I'll be like,
I
you
would
look a little
hope.
disheveled.
Yeah, I frequently, I guess, look disheveled, and it's really funny. Like, Well, if I comb my hair, how many people don't leave the Ubers when I get in them?
They give you change?
Oh my god.
It's not happening to me. No.
So I know where Brandon is. You're in Queens or Brooklyn, right, Brandon?
I'm in Queens right now with Phines, actually, same
Where
neighborhood.
are you,
We
Finest?
live in the same neighborhood. Yeah, I'm in the Queens, Astoria.
Oh, okay.
And you're
Oh, me,
where?
I'm in suburban Philadelphia.
Ooh. Can you take transit in Philadelphia? I thought about living there, but I don't want a car. I don't want to ever have a car again.
Well, there's good transportation in the Philadelphia area, but if you get out, I'd say it's good. Yes, there's good transportation.
Not where you live, right? You can't get to where you live without a car, Grandpa, right?
No, not true. No,
So I get an
there's
Uber.
Not true.
buses and trains everywhere.
Really? Got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sierra, you're in Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm outside Chicago, but like
Outside
Ooh.
Chicago.
Chicago, they don't know.
Chicago
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
And there's a craziness going to Chicago going on.
Ugh.
Well, they just reported that Philadelphia has the highest murder rate in the United States.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we have a lovely doorman that worked here up until a few weeks ago, and he was going home in the evening from work, and somebody ran into the back of his car, and he got out, and they shot him, and he was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and he just got out of the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Very
Holy crap.
lovely guy, lovely person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a pleasant subject. But we have very bad. A couple days ago, 16 people were shot in Philadelphia.
Oh my gosh.
16 people in one day.
Dang. See? All right. Again, this adds to what I was saying. Police officers being mailmen.
Right.
No, they probably would add to the shootings. No, but why do you think that that Philadelphia, or I'm sorry, is it Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's in Philadelphia.
Why do you think it has like the highest murder rate?
It probably has something to do with the financial situation of the people. Probably has a lot to do with that. Their finances. I'm assuming that would be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the reason, but I know that right outside of Philadelphia is a town called Camden, New Jersey, and that was the highest murder rate percentage in the United States.
Oh wow.
And now they said Philadelphia's.
We have Sunny on the line. You say you're connected, Sunny, but is it really the truth? We don't know.
Oh, am I here?
Okay, I can. Okay.
Oh wow.
Well played.
I was muted and I didn't know until you were saying something. So I think, I just happened to come in really suave.
Cool. Welcome.
Welcome. Yes. Hello.
Yeah. I just had a Popeye's chicken sandwich. And have you had it yet? It's so good.
No, I can't. And I can't eat. I haven't eaten out since March. I can't.
Wow.
I can't get takeout where I live because everyone is untrustworthy with their hygiene, and I've never gotten to try the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is
I haven't
just
eaten today.
Bro.
I feel like Sierra hasn't eaten meat at all because the last time I heard was like that butcher you went to or something like that was bad with the meat. So it's just like
I'm eating meat. I just will. I'm never going there again. I'm never.
Yeah, I feel you. Phines and I, when quarantine first started, we waited we both went a whole month without ordering any takeout.
Bro,
it was tough.
It's devastating.
But are you guys good cooks? Because if so, it's a lot better. But
if
for
not,
sure. Yeah.
Son
is good cook.
I can't cook at all, and I have to eat my food every day. It's like
I actually learned a lot of really cool things over quarantine, cooking wise, and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed it and how how actually decent I am at doing it. I make a lot of like stuff from fresh ingredients now.
What have you made? What have you learned?
Okay, so like tomato sauce is like salsa. My chef that at my restaurant that I worked at, he posted a picture of how to make salsa, and it's so easy. It's literally just tomatoes, onions, garlic, cilantro, and peppers.
Yeah.
You boil it for like 10 minutes or so. You like simmer it or whatever, let it cool down, and then you blend it, and you have salsa.
What?
Right? And so like just knowing that, like you can make like, so for butter chicken, which is a typical Indian dish, you use tomato sauce to make it, but because I know how to make salsa or tomato sauce, it doesn't matter. I just make it from fresh ingredients now, from tomatoes and onions and all that other stuff, and I make it from fresh ingredients.
Ooh, that's wild.
It takes a long time though, right? Like you gotta.
You know what I will say is when you find the dishes that you like, and the more into fresh ingredients you get, like the more time you're willing to spend on things, because the more you do it, the quicker everything gets.
Yeah,
you start learning the flow of everything, right? And
starts eating faster.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's being used all the time, I guess it would. Maybe.
Nice.
And I'll bet you save a lot of money. Like I remember someone was breaking down the numbers of how to make your homemade pizza, how much a pizza would cost, and it's like it's only like 47 cents a pizza, if you make it at home. So that gets me going when I know I'm saving money. That makes me love
and when you think about toppings, and you're like, dang, they're making me pay $1.50 for 5 mushrooms on a pizza.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's serious.
The fraud.
Yeah.
Highest surcharge.
Yeah. It's like I just bought a lifetime supply of mushrooms for $5.
Exactly. Right. You're not wrong. You know what blew my mind?
You might as well put quarters on the pizza.
Exactly. Was that like sauces and soups? A soup's just like a thinned out sauce, and a sauce is like a thickened up soup.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, wow, maybe think of ranch way differently.
Dude, I went on a Wikipedia binge of what actually is a soup, and they couldn't, because what's a cup of water could technically be a soup if you have some bouillons in it. Like where does it end? What is a drink? What is a soup? What is a salsa?
And what is a broth? I want to know the difference.
Oh.
Broth. I don't know. I used to know what a broth is.
Broth is like when the bone, right? That's like the marrow, like the bone being of a chicken, right? In water.
I think it's just decent water.
Yeah,
something to leach out the flavor from a bone.
That's what a broth is.
See, I bet if we hung with people from different social classes, we would know what broths were.
I'm looking at myself on this thing. I'm going to get a hat or a helmet and sunglasses.
What are you trying to say?
No, we look great.
It sounds like you just want to cover your face.
Exactly.
I can't hang out with these people that don't make soup.
At which point do you get so high class that you no longer eat Skittles?
Skittles?
Yeah, like I feel like Skittles are not necessarily the classiest candy.
Really? Oh man, I feel like it. Oh man, I love Skittles.
I'm eating sour Skittles right now. That's why I guess I specifically said Skittles.
Yeah, I don't like the sour Skittles. I'll be honest with you.
What?
Yeah. Wow, you have really good taste.
I can't.
Brandon?
I can't do
No, not Brandon. The other person whose name I can't see on here.
Hi, I'm Sierra.
Sierra, you have great taste. Sour
Thank
Skittles
you.
and the Popeye sandwich?
The hypothetical Popeye sandwich that God won't let me have. Yeah. Yeah. Skittles. What are you doing?
I don't know what social class you would go to. I haven't been that high up yet, but I'll let you know when I'm like, ugh.
Unless you're one of those crazy people. Unless you're one of those like crazy rich people that like drives like a Beetle, like a Volkswagen Beetle, and has like lives in a
Yeah,
trailer and just like stashes all the gold
Skittles
in the
all over
yard.
the car. Yeah.
I want to be that. I want to be so rich that I'm that person that like completely eats like really, really healthy, you know, because I can afford to eat completely
Right?
healthy. So I'd be
Whole
like, I
Foods
wouldn't
all
even.
day.
I can't even say Skittle because it gives me an ulcer, or diabetes, or something. I'm too yuck.
Right.
I want
What
to get
do you
so
guys do
rich.
when you go to a movie theater?
Oh, sneak it in every time.
Yeah, sneak in. I sneak in on my stuff.
But you know what? I got fancy with my sneaking in. I was like, when I sneak in, I don't want to just sneak in any old food. I want to do a nice pairing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I was doing like berry flavored seltzer waters with a nice fruity candy like sour Skittles or Shockers for a comedy movie or like a Knives Out kind of movie.
You just want to nuke your tongue, I guess. You just
Yeah, he
Yeah.
sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you know, if I knew I was going to watch something like a French movie, what was that? The Portrait of the Lady on Fire? I
Okay.
brought some good old crunch chocolate in there with me.
Wow.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say fondue or
Yeah,
something.
I thought he was gonna say something French. Tells you to.
You're like, I saw a French movie. I got a pizza.
yeah.
I like bringing in I would bring in like a Buddha box and like a cheese stick. Those
Oh,
wine,
dude, I love
those
the individual cheese sticks.
No, the wine box, like 3 glasses of wine in one box.
Oh,
Have you had those?
yeah. No, I thought you meant the string cheese where you can like you peel it.
Oh, that too. No, that too. That's to make it French. In the
Yeah.
in the wine.
Yeah. If I'm trying to be romantic, I bring a bottle of wine and some string cheese sticks.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Yo, my favorite moment of Brandon in a movie theater. And for starters, Brandon just sneaks in full-on 5-course meals in the movie theater. He brings like 2 different beverages, 4 different snacks. But my favorite, we went to go watch The Lighthouse. Right? And The Lighthouse is a weird, artsy movie. And so they don't really play on soundtracks as much. Dead Space is Dead Space. We're in a full movie theater. Full. We're sitting in the wrong seat, so we get away with it, which is one of the most exhilarating feelings ever.
So nice.
Yeah, it is.
But there's so many dead spaces and silences, and all I can hear is just Brandon opening up Cheeto bag after Cheeto bag, just snacking in between these dead spaces.
I tell you what, if an Uber stops me and I see Brandon with Cheetos in his pockets and a bunch of other stuff like that, I'm like, next, I'm canceling my Uber. I'm not getting the.
There weren't Cheetos. There were some other shit, but
You guys are making me hungry.
Yeah, I haven't eaten. It's a crunchy. I just want to defend myself. It's a crunchy food, and I try and open the bags as silently as possible. But if you're watching something like I saw A Quiet Place, have you guys seen that?
That was a trap.
It's a terrible place to eat some fucking Cheetos. Like,
it's a popcorn trap. I did that too. It's popcorn.
It's called The Quiet Place.
I know, and I was hungry. Like I didn't understand that everybody could hear me crunch.
That's when you bring in like a whole like cheese pizza or something like that. So then no one really hears anything but the box opening in the very beginning.
Go. Yeah, just bring a pizza next time.
Nah,
cheese
but like
sauce and then. Yeah.
You guys are making me hungry.
Oh yeah.
I'm about to get hungry.
What do you like eating at a movie theater, Grandpa?
Well, I haven't been to a theater for quite some time, but usually I'll get popcorn and a drink.
37 years.
Right.
Yeah. I like that disgusting movie butter popcorn shit where it's like just like squirts out of the little dispenser.
Don't do it.
I
don't know.
I get this I get this visual, like this look on my face. I can't even help it when things are just too outrageously priced that I just can't even. I don't even go and ask about how much stuff costs or how much popcorn. I just automatically just bring my meals in because I'll take the risk.
That's the same thing I was thinking. boy, when you go
Yeah.
to the theater, their prices are just outrageous for popcorn and drinks.
Yeah.
I've been too
There's
rude to the
times where
customer service people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, I was just gonna say, there's times when I go to a movie theater and I'm like, I have enough money today. I don't care what the price is. I'm gonna get myself something. And every single time I go up there and they're like, it'll be $10 for a small Coke. I'm like, get the F out of here with that.
Yeah,
No.
it must suck. Yeah,
It sucks too because I love hot movie theater popcorn. So you got to bring a microwave and some like microwave packs or something.
You just got to wrap it up in some foil.
Yeah.
Bring the loud
if you
foil.
Yeah.
yeah. Crunch. Yeah.
I bet if you buy yourself a microwave right now and you sneak into a movie theater, I bet you get your money's back worth in 4 or 5 visits to the movie theater. Probably less.
You just gotta find an outlet at the back of the theater.
Yeah. Just like plug it into your car before you go in.
Yeah. Well, they got all the drive-through movie theaters now, obviously, because we're not gonna be able to. You can sneak in anything.
You sure could, yeah.
Are there any good? Excuse me. Are there any good films out now? Obviously, you're not going to a theater right now, but
Trolls 2? I don't know.
I really wanted to see Mulan, but there's so much drama, and then they also want me to pay $30 for it. So.
Oh no! Wow.
That's not going to work out.
Is that out already? Oh wow! I didn't even hear about that.
Coming out. If it's not out, maybe it comes out tomorrow. But that's all I've been hearing about last week.
Disney Plus is wilding out. They're like, they know they have a monopoly almost,
right?
And they're just testing to see how much they can get people to pay for Mulan.
I'm just waiting it out for the Proud family to come back.
Mulan's not included in the Disney Plus subscription.
You can only get it through Disney Plus, I think, but you have to pay, or if you have an account, you can watch it on Disney Plus, but you have to pay $30 to watch it. So like, what's the point?
Why $30?
Because they're crazy. I don't know. $30.
They're probably giving you ownership over the file.
I guarantee you they're not. Like,
that's funny. Yeah.
You're gonna make me pay. Because that's what they were trying to do at the beginning of the pandemic. They were trying to like movies that were supposed to come out like right around like March and April. They were trying to charge people $20 to rent it because that's what they would have spent hypothetically in the theater to see it. Do you guys remember that?
They're trying to count like multiple people watching it.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna work out, my guy. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Man, I don't like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you please.
Well, I don't like that it's going live action because I think Mulan was one of the best like soundtracks Disney had, and now there's not gonna be no My Reflection Show scene. It was such a good song.
There's no Mushu. You already know it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of live action Disney.
Live action. The Avatar creators quit in June for the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender series that Netflix will do.
I saw that.
Yeah, and so now the live action series is going to be done without the creators, and the creators left because of creative differences, meaning it's going to suck.
I'm devastated.
They literally they fuck up the dude. I just saw Avatar: The Last Airbender straight through for the first time during quarantine.
What?
And like, oh my god, it is so good.
It's so good.
And I watched clips of the M. Night Shyamalan thing and like cried. It was like, really bad.
I still haven't seen that movie, and I want to though.
No, I can't even get myself to watch it. It's so bad.
Yeah, we should have a movie night.
I think it has like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I would watch it to make fun of it, but
yeah,
I was hoping that the live action one on Netflix would be really good. Like,
have you not seen it yet?
Excited.
Brandon?
Have you seen the new one that they were gonna make?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it's still gonna be better than the original movie. So.
Yeah. No, I want to see. We should watch it.
Yeah.
I
saw clips. All right. Spoiler alert for Grandpa because Grandpa hasn't seen it yet. But like they do the whole moon. You want to watch it with us, Grandpa?
None of us seen it.
When?
Whenever you're free.
Do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You're talking about Avatar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not
Okay,
not
but
the blue guys. The Last Airbender.
Trash.
okay, but wouldn't I watch it on like Netflix or Prime
Yeah.
or Disney or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
Yeah.
Netflix
On
party it,
Netflix.
and we'll have a chat. We can just talk. We can just snicker and make smart comments. It's fun.
There we go.
Sounds
Yeah.
like
So we can
sounds like a
call
good idea.
you, and yeah, you and Linda can watch it with us.
Okay.
That'd be
It's
cute.
like what, an hour, 2 hours long, isn't it? I would assume.
I think it's an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
They don't
don't worry,
It's
yeah.
not the
torture you
Irishman.
for that long. Too long.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like, get me the fuck out of here. I'm done already. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Any last thoughts, Sonny? I know Wilson James has been waiting for a long time. I want to get him on.
Nah, I just appreciate being on here. This was a great conversation. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You too.
And you keep cooking food.
Yeah.
I love commands.
Then you
What?
keep doing it. You keep doing that. You cook. I think he's loving it too much.
Okay, bye-bye, Sonny.
Later, Gator.
Leave now.
Damn, more commands. All right.
Yeah.
How are the birds,
what?
Grandpa?
Oh, they're fine. They're fine. 3 of them
Yeah.
are in the other room, and Rosie is in here with me.
I'm surprised she's not on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I just let her out of the cage. I had her in the cage for a while, but she's up on a perch right now,
Yay.
and she's enjoying herself.
I heard this really funny joke today that is about birds, and basically since birds are connected to dinosaurs, they were like, when dinosaur sings, this is basically like a bird, when a bird sings, it's like a dinosaur just singing. It's like a dinosaur song, basically, which is funny. I find that it's just they have a little dinosaur singing, which is funny to me.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think birds were supposed to have evolved from dinosaurs. Sounds
Yeah,
crazy, but mhm.
When do you think they started singing?
No,
What do you think? You think it was roaring, and then at some point they just started like singing?
In the land before time, it's the little one. It's like like
I know it's
basically a bird sound already.
I know it's for mating, so they're like at one point they were just done like roaring, and they had to like step it up, so they
Sure,
started
yeah.
singing,
Well,
and it started being
What's for mating? The sounds?
Yeah, the birds. Most birds they're guys usually singing to each other, like they're usually competing, like a rap battle.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. So when I'm waking up in the morning, I'm like, oh, it sounds so beautiful. It's just like dudes trying to fuck, basically.
It's like,
It
I'm
is.
trying to get that booty, and then the bird's like, I'm trying to get that booty too, and it's like, I'm trying to get that booty more.
Wow.
We love
Wow.
it.
Have you guys in New York been getting the kind of rain we're getting here in Philadelphia? We've been getting quite a bit of showers, heavy showers.
Yeah, it's been a lot of rain.
That one hurricane day where trees like fell on a bunch of cars right near me. It was pretty insane.
How about Chicago, Sierra?
We had one. Well, it rained a couple times last week, but one of them was really, really bad. It was just like all the trees and stuff were just going crazy, and I could see like the next day we lost like 2 little what do you call them? Like watering spouts or whatever for plants. What do you call those? Watering pots? That's not it. We lost like 2 of those. They were like all over different parts of the yard. So just like 2 days. Haven't been that bad.
Now, are you in like the city, or are you in suburban area?
Suburban.
Sierra? Suburban. And I imagine.
They don't. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, they don't lie when it's called the Windy City. I went to Chicago like 2 years ago, and the cloud, the bean thing.
Mhm.
What is?
The
In the
bean.
center, whatever. The bean. Yeah. I was like, I tried to touch it and like got blown back almost. It was pretty crazy.
Oh,
Like
no.
for real. Yeah.
I've never been to the Bean yet. I want to go. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Chicago 3 times, but never
Wow.
been to the Bean.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right next to Indiana, so. But
That's why I went. Is when I was living in Kentucky. I drove some friends down to Chicago for a weekend. No. Dude, honestly, I live in New York, and I've been on East Coast my entire life. Chicago pizza was better.
Wow.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
I mean,
it's really fucking good.
I think Chicago pizza is good. I just don't get the whole deep dish thing.
Oh,
Like,
that it tasted so good for me.
yeah, I don't need that much sauce or that much cheese.
Mm.
I
So
like
you,
the thin crust pizza we have here.
Yeah, I want something I can grab and go. I don't need to eat. I don't need like a fork and to eat my pizza. But I like Chicago. I like the white. I like the Cubs. I'm not a white. I like the White Sox. The Bulls are okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Does anybody else here follow any sports?
Oh yeah, I'm only a sports follower. I'm heavy in that. We should have a basketball hour because I can talk about basketball for days. So happy that I'm 50-50
I mean,
with the basketball thing.
I love playing. I have not. I don't know if it's a time thing. I've just not followed any sports league like fully.
no.
Shaquille or Wilt Chamberlain? Who do you think would
Oh,
dominate?
Shaq, I guess. I don't know who Will is. Gotta go with what I know.
People from out of town will say Shaq, but from Philadelphians
Yeah.
all think that Wilt
Let
would
me
have dominated.
see.
yeah. Well, Chamberlain's like what's the word? He's unnatural. He's just too fast and too big. He's just like runs around like he's tiny.
Bigger than Shaq.
I've never seen this man in my life. Who am I thinking of? I thought he was white. Is there a white Wilt basketball player?
You're probably thinking of Larry Bird.
Maybe I'm thinking of Larry.
Or Jerry West. When you think of white basketball players, you think of the Jerry West is the NBA logo. When you see that logo of the NBA, like that guy with the ball, that's Jerry West.
Oh, see, I'm learning so much today.
Look at that.
This dude looks much smaller than Shaquille O'Neal.
He probably is, but Wilt Chamberlain's probably more athletic pound for pound. I don't know. Shaquille O'Neal, I don't know. That's hard to pick between who's better.
Wilt was pressing 500 pounds when he was 50 years old. He was bench pressing 500 pounds, a very strong guy. And he was tall. He was about 7'1".
Are you staying active, Grandpa? You're still doing your push-ups every day?
No. Maybe once a week. Yeah.
You could do more push-ups than me, like even a year ago, I think.
Yeah, I'm down to about 25 now.
It's about same, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Good.
I was watching this experiment of ages and like decades of age, like 20s versus 30s versus 40s versus 50s versus 60-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like the 20-year-olds and the 60-year-olds won. Right? They were basically, the 20-year-olds won by a little bit, and then the 60-year-olds were under just a smidge. And they were talking about the reason why. I just wanted to hear what you guys think before, just why do you think that?
For
you
strength, or what do you mean?
It was for everything. They tried to test people on problem solving, strength, endurance.
Oh.
They just did a category for memory. They did a bunch of categories in the group. Who came in first with the 20-somethings, and then who came in second was the 60-year-olds, and then the other ones just kind of, were in the middle.
Probably because once you're out of your 20s, you stop doing drugs, and then once you're in your 60s, you start doing them again.
I don't think so.
Hey, we have
All right, what do you think, Grandpa?
Why you think? Yeah,
I think you do a different kind of drug, maybe something that's prescribed to you.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think with
What?
age, you know, when
Let's
you get
get
over
specific. No. I'm not letting this go. What kind of drug are you talking about, Grandpa?
like maybe let's say neosynephrine to help you with breathing, or Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah.
Got you.
But
Okay.
I think if when you get up in years, obviously you lose a certain amount of testosterone, libido, and your muscle mass is not as you lose. I'd say you lose 2/3 of your strength when you're up over say 70.
But why people in their 60s are almost as good as people in their 20s?
It's good in what respect?
Well, whatever Phines was saying.
Well, it's as far as mental acuity or physical strength or you know, it depends what you're referring to. Mentally, I don't think that I think they have more knowledge because they've been around longer. But as far as problem solving, I imagine you would be able to solve better when you're younger, at a younger age, and definitely you'd be stronger physically. Men are strongest, I think, in when they're 20 in their 20s, and so you definitely lose a certain amount, and also you don't keep up with the exercise. Most people don't. Maybe a few do, but very few.
Hey,
Although Mike Tyson looks like he's really keeping up with his exercise. I saw a picture of him, his physique, and he's in terrific shape.
Yeah.
Terrific,
All that marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. What are you about to say about
Talking
physical
about
strength?
physical strength, I know how I felt when Jared beat me in arm wrestling for the first time. A few
Did he
years ago.
really?
Oh,
How did it make you feel?
Stronger now than I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weak.
Is he?
Weak.
I can feel that. I don't know the day if I don't know if I'll. No, I'm too competitive. I will beat my dad down if I get a chance to arm wrestle him. But I know, at least I know how he'll feel mentally, and that'll make me feel that much more better.
There you go.
No, but
you don't want to hurt his feelings.
No, I don't. Of course, I don't.
Yeah.
Damn.
But there was that one time in T-ball when he told me that if I focus a little bit more, I'd be better. And I can be like, if you were just a little younger. No. I do think when I worked in the hospital, when I was talking to like patients about asking them if they were depressed and whatnot, I did not believe any guy that was like, oh, I'm not depressed, or never have been. Because I'm thinking like, as you get older, you start physically diminishing. That's got to weigh on you a little bit. That's got to make you feel a little depressed, especially if you used to be, if you're known to be like the provider of the family and whatnot, and the big strong grandpa or big strong father. I can only assume as you lose some of that strength that it makes you feel sad.
I'll be back.
Well, you have to accept things as they are in life. That there's a different situation for every age in life. You change in your thinking, you change in your strength, you change in a lot of things as you get older. Most people do.
Yeah, it kind of. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, do you not still feel like you are when you're a kid? Like I read this thing that people don't really essentially change their personality from the time they're in 4th grade, and like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I kind of feel that way a lot.
I think you do change in some respects. There's some things you change and other things you don't. You still feel like a kid in some sense, but but obviously you're not a kid, and some people mature much later in life than other people. I know people that are in their 20s and they're very mature, and I know people that are in their 50s and they're not so mature.
Yeah.
So.
Tying this all together, though, this kind of goes into what we were talking about with the ages and the 20 to the 60-year-old, and like losing your strength. Like, to me, I would assume that someone that's 60 or later in their life would feel sad about losing their strength. That's because at 20, I would feel really sad if I lost my strength right now. Where I think when you're older, you start maturing and you understand like, hey, I'm not as strong. So you kind of fight you go with the flow more than someone that's in their 20s that may be strong and smart or whatever, but they're always fighting like they're fighting against the grain, while I think someone that's older is a little bit like, oh, I've been here before, I understand this. And I think that's a little bit why they can do so well, compete with a 20 something so well. Yeah.
They're not as competitive when you're older.
Yeah, because you know better.
Right.
At least I think you do. Yeah. Like you don't have anything to prove.
Right. And
I'm turning I'm turning 25 in like 2 weeks, and it's weird because they say that the risk part of your brain's not developed till you're like 25, 26. Does that ring true to you, Finest? Like once you're like 20, you're like a fully formed human being, and the only part of your brain that doesn't develop until you're like 25, 26 is risk, like the ability to like make good decisions and like not take you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's something I'm looking forward to, actually. So
I guess there's a little bit like I think I'm always pretty risky. I'm a tend to be kind of a risky person. But I will say now that I'm older, I am not so like I'm a quit something. Like I don't know, like I explained, like I actually know like I see the risk and keep starting over. Like now that I know it's like it's kind of risky to keep starting over. Now it's kind of important to like keep doing something over and over again because I I guess my risk I guess I'm more risk observant because I'm like I can't waste my time doing that anymore because I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 20. You know, I can't do that. So, but I still will jump out of a plane real quick though. I don't have no problem with that, but I do have a problem with like the other stuff.
Well, automobile insurance rates
it's
go
not that
down
risky
after
to
age
jump out of a
25,
plane.
and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Huh. Do you think at a certain age birds stop singing because they don't have anything to prove anymore? They're like, all right, I don't need any more. I've already laid my eggs. There's no more singing. I got nothing to prove.
Mm,
I wasn't aware that
yeah.
birds stopped singing, so I don't know.
So they still want it. That's good to know.
Or they're just flexing. Just like
They're
letting
just
everybody
flexing.
know, not in the mood, but I could.
but I could if I wanted to.
I don't want to fuck, but I would.
uh,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
I mean, it's like I find it really that's crazy to me that birds only sing because they're into mating. Like I didn't know that.
I'm sure there's
'cause,
other
like,
reasons. I mean, there's other reasons, because female birds sometimes sing too, but they're not trying to get laid.
Birds make sounds other than for mating. They make sounds if they're scared. You know, they make a different sound for different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Bird talked a lot.
You think he was trying to get laid?
How dare you?
I'm just forward in the logic. Yeah, I mean, so we were talking about this, Finest. We were talking about you, Grandpa, actually. We were saying before about like it feels like I'm always trying to hit this place where it's like, okay, if I just get to this age or get to this point in my life, I'm going to be mature. I'm going to be set. And then I was like, well, actually, from my relationship with you, I know that there's still things that you're working on in your life, and that that journey that was do you find that like it does this process of like becoming a better person or like being my best self, does that never end?
Yeah, I think that's definitely an issue that I think you want to work on as you get older and more mature. That you want to become a better person in life, and more
But
understanding.
at what age are you good? Like at what age do you reach your full potential?
Well, are you talking about me personally or just in general?
Sure.
Pardon?
Both.
For me personally, I was always interested more in things than in people. So I didn't really focus as much on people. But as I become older, I realize how important people are in your life. And so I would say, yeah, for myself, I really didn't mature in that way. And I'm still working on it to have more understanding and be a better listener and more compassionate with older people than I was when I was younger. And I happen to marry a woman who's a very liberal person. I mean, more than any human being I know. And she has a love for everyone. She really does. So, I'm learning from her, and I know, knowing your, well, I'll stop there.
Okay.
So,
I don't.
yeah.
I just feel like at what age did you accept yourself? Were you like, cool, like I don't have self-doubts, or I feel confident in who I am?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I ever got to that point. For some
Wilson?
reason, I'm getting an echo.
It's Tom. Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I didn't think we were going to get together the way things were going.
Yeah, well, I apologize for all the technical difficulties.
That's okay.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you. We were just in conversation asking about at what age, at what point do you feel confident within yourself? At what point in your life do you feel like you're done growing, or you've gotten to a place where you feel secure?
I would say I feel like I've come to a point that I'm secure. I don't think it's not that I don't think I can grow more, but I think I've grown enough. And a lot of my feelings and my thoughts are much different than I was when I was in the service in the late '60s, and I'm going to say working in the '70s and '80s.
What caused that, do you think?
I think it was just, in one respect, just being more open and aware of different people, lifestyles, and people choosing to be what they feel they are, especially LGBTQ, and becoming more aware of people's feelings and what people have for each other, be they straight or gay. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
I growing up, it was like I'm gonna say I was one of I didn't have tolerance, but I didn't express it. It wasn't something my feelings were, I was totally against it. And as I got older and matured more, I began to realize that people are people, and the lifestyle that they have is their lifestyle, and it's what they're comfortable with. And now I feel I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if saying comfortable is the right word to say.
Sure. I mean, was this a gradual process, or was there a day, moment, or event that sort of caused this switch?
No, it wasn't any. It wasn't any moment. I shouldn't say it wasn't any moment. Where my wife worked in say probably late '80s. She had someone that she was working with, and he was gay, and when he was with his partner for 27 years, and eventually his partner had an affair, and they broke up, and he was devastated by it. And having known him or met him and spent time with him, part of what the way he was and what he is part of what's changed me. When he broke up with his partner, and I felt so bad for him.
Sure.
And he's just as human as everybody else is. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I don't see him any different than anybody else that I'm friends with.
And do you
Scott to me, Scott is Scott. I love Scott deeply, and when we're with him about maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I really enjoy his company.
Yeah. What do you feel regret about your feelings in the past, or just gratitude that you feel the way you do now? Like, what, when you look back, what comes up for
I
you?
wouldn't call it regret. I kind of feel like I should have been more open-minded
Yeah.
and had a respect for the way people are, and that they chose a lifestyle. They choose the lifestyle that's natural to them, and it just wasn't natural to me. And I grew up to respect that.
Yeah. I feel like you're using your words very, very useful. I think you're choosing your words very cool. Very good way. I can tell you're taking a lot of thought into it, which is appreciated.
I have a granddaughter who wants to transgender. I don't agree with that. Not because I don't think she shouldn't. I think she's doing it because she there's I'm gonna call it peer pressure from other people she's friends with, and I'm
Hmm.
not so sure it's the right choice for her. But if she does that, I stand fully behind her.
Yeah, I mean that's basically all you can do. I mean you got no control anyway.
No,
Um,
she's not. She's my oldest granddaughter, my first granddaughter, uh, and we've had when she was in high school, we'd go out to lunch at Friendly's, and we sit
Stand
there.
here for a minute. I don't want to do this. You're not going to do anything. I'm right here.
We go to Friendly's and talk, and she would be very open with me, and I'd listen to her. And I know there were times that there were people who wouldn't listen to what she had to say. I never passed judgment on her, and to this day, I still wouldn't pass judgment on her.
Yeah.
She feels it's what she wants to do. Again, I don't necessarily agree with it. I think she needs to go through counseling before she does it, and she kind of doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't
I mean,
stand in her way of doing what she wants to do.
I've never been in those shoes, but I do have a very close friend, and I just know that it's even just the act of coming out, I think, is a very difficult and big and like important thing, you know.
Yeah.
And the love, respect, or tolerance is, I think, very important no matter where it comes from, you know.
Her partner is transgender, but he can't fully change because he has cystic fibrosis, and
oh,
there's a
wow.
lot they can't do.
Yeah.
He's taken the steps, and he'll never fully transgender, but
Yeah.
I think probably where he's at, he's in
Transition, yeah.
his late 20s, and he's probably where he's at is probably where he'll be now.
Hey. You know so much, so knowledgeable. Again, that's like I'm also giving kudos because I'm like that's what we were just talking about earlier about people getting like to mix with people they don't always agree with or different than them, and you can already tell that you know things that I don't like, just by like opening yourself up to something that you may or may not agree with, gave you some knowledge that is like, look at you knowing things about why someone can't fully change genders. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when we get together for Christmas or birthdays, and they live out near Orange, Mass, so we don't see them frequently. But when they come, her partner Seth, it's like he feels like he's not part of the family, and my
Hmm.
wife and I and my oldest son and his wife, we try to do as much to make him feel like he is part of the family, and he's welcome here. But he's almost very shy,
Yeah.
um, uh, and it's taken a long time. I think he's more comfortable with us than he used to be, but he's still a little bit skittish around us, and we try to make sure that he feels like he is part of our family, and I mean, to us he is.
Are there other members of your family that are not, that are sort of giving negativity that makes it more difficult?
No, 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 not at all. I have my oldest son and his wife. My younger son passed away a year and a half ago, and he had two children, a boy and a girl, and his wife, our other daughter-in-law, you know, they're part of, you know, when we all get together, you know, no one treats him any different. They all treat him like he's part of the family.
Yeah.
I think he's just,
Um,
I think he's just a little, he's uncomfortable, and we understand that, and we don't try to push him or, you know, overdo it around him. And we just, you know, try to make sure that, you know, he's happy and, you know, he just feels welcome in the house.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for your loss, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that was 43 years old.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Dang.
Where are you based out of, Tom?
Bellingham, Mass.
Massachusetts?
I always tell people, well, originally I'm from New York.
Oh, yeah? Why you say that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't forget my roots. I was raised on Long Island.
Ah, okay. There.
Yeah.
Sometimes the accent, most of the time the accent comes out.
Phines and I are in right now, so.
Referring to a person who was gay, I had a cousin and his wife went on the Phil Donahue show many years ago. I don't know if you guys are too young to know of that show, but it was
I know.
popular.
I remember Phil Donahue. Yeah, I remember. I never watched the show. You know, just skimmed by it a couple of times, but I know who he is.
But on the show, they both announced that they were gay. Both my cousin and his wife both announced that they were both gay. And he later wrote a book about his experience and so forth.
Yeah, my wife and I perform in the Westboro Community Chorus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and two of the members, Carla and Kathy, they got married, I think about 2 years ago. And what's interesting, Carla had been married in the past and had to a man and had a son. And I did not know that until after when the two of them were together. I knew they were a gay couple, but I didn't know Carla had been married in the past and had a son, and found that out just prior to them getting married that she had the son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, they're very, very happy together. I'm glad for them, but I just, you know, they've been together and they're very happy together, and they should be.
Yeah.
You know, genuine love, and no one should deny that of people.
I do have a question about all this. This is go with the whole thing we were talking about earlier. So Tim, Uber comes up, okay, and in the car is someone that looks they're from a different social class, poorer than you. If they're does it matter their race or their gender? Do you feel like you're more uncomfortable because they're from a different social class, or do you feel like you're more uncomfortable because of their otherness? What do you think? Or do you feel nothing? Do you feel like you can sit next to everyone on an Uber and be okay? What do you think?
I've never driven Uber. Never been a passenger. I've been a passenger in a cab.
Okay.
And in New York City. And there may be a couple of other places. I've never had an issue with that, or, you know, who's driving. I mean, there's times I work in downtown Boston at Mass General Hospital on occasion. My wife and I work as standardized patients.
Okay,
so
cool.
we take a bus from North Station over to the Constitution. And the drivers on the bus are all different races and ethnic backgrounds. I don't think twice about it. And the same thing, having taken cabs.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot, but I have no issue with that.
Yeah, no, I didn't think that. I think it's more like we were talking about earlier, the social class. I think that I'd feel more uncomfortable. I'm trying not to put it onto you, but I'd feel more uncomfortable sitting next to someone that I felt like in a different social class than me than I would be any of they could be it could be a transgender rich person or a transgender poor person, a poor person. I think I'd feel more uncomfortable sitting next to the transgender poor person because they were poor, not because they were transgender, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, if someone doesn't have anything, I do feel bad for them, and I'm part of. Like everybody's out, people who are trying to make a living. That's what they do, and I just don't. I don't understand why there's this much how much hatred we have in the world right now for people. We all struggle. We all do our thing. I just don't. I don't understand it. I really don't. I mean, there's
an old comedy bit. It's sad what's going on with the amount of hatred. It really is a sad situation.
Yeah, I mean, the people going to the fast food and not getting able to get a hamburger during breakfast time, and throwing a fit. I think it was in McDonald's. I mean, that's absurd. What's the point? Why do that? I don't understand.
There's an old comedy bit I remember where like a guy like visits New York and he's on the subway and a homeless dude like walks up to him and he like goes to give money and then the other people are like, oh, don't do that. And then he's like, wait, why? And then nobody has an answer. Like,
yeah.
Well, my youngest son who passed, we were in Boston. It was him, his wife, my other son, my wife, and I. We were going to a restaurant. I think we were going to McCormick's, and somebody came up and asked, can you spare me a couple of bucks? And I gave the guy a couple of bucks. And my younger son, Matt, he just says, "What are you doing that for?" And I said, "What difference does it make? I gave him a couple of bucks. What's the big deal?" Typically, if I do that, and it's not that I'm going down the streets looking for people to do handouts, but I say to them, "Don't spend it on liquor," and I know they probably will.
Yeah.
But I tell them, "Don't spend it on liquor." No.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's not that I give money to every person I see. Sometimes I just do walk past people.
Yeah. It's tough. I even dropped away from like the not giving money to liquor because I thought about what I would do with those $2. I'm like, what would I do with those $2? And I was like, I might buy some liquor.
Yeah. I spend my money on liquor now. I mean, it's like, why not?
Wonderful.
Priorities, y'all.
I mean, I remember I had like Chipotle or something. I was on the subway and someone walked by, was asking for change, and I was like, "Here, I can give you." So I gave the burrito, and then I walked out at the next stop. So did they, and then they threw the food that I had given them like on the subway platform completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I would do it again. Like I'd just get another fucking Chipotle, But like on the off chance someone's gonna do that, like what would I not? I don't know.
Order something different. Maybe they'll like it. Ask them next time.
Right. Be like, I only get quesadillas.
It's because I got fucking sour cream on it. I always get extra sour cream. They're like, it's disgusting.
I was doing field sales for quite a while, and I was in the Worcester territory. And when you drive through Worcester, you come to a traffic light. A lot of the intersections, they had people looking for handouts. And the only thing that bothered me about that is I know a lot of them, it's like it's all organized. And, the person on that corner, it's like that's his corner and no one else can go work his corner.
Yeah.
And sometimes that would bother me. But I'd say probably 40% of the time I would, give the guy $1 or the woman $1, give him something. And my wife and I, another thing we did, for a while, we lived up in Westboro. With our church, we would go to, it was called the Mustard Seed in Worcester. It was like once a month, maybe every 2 months. And we'd be prepared food for the people who were living in the shelters or homeless people out there.
Mhm.
And the same people you'd see hanging on out on the street corners were the same people coming in to get food for the night at the Mustard Seed. And it's sad, people shouldn't have to do that, but sometimes it's through no fault of their own.
Yeah, I tell you how bad I've gotten. I feel like I've gotten spoiled here in New York because so many people like dance and do a bunch of like things for money. So then I went back to Indiana, my hometown, and saw a regular panhandler, and I was just like, I'm not giving you any money. You're not even dancing, which is very, very sad to say. But it is true. It's a sad world we're in. But it just tells you like, that it's just how messed up everything is. But hey, make a joke out of anything, right?
No, yeah, you're just if I had to sing to make a living, I'd be fucked.
If you give me some good effort and I see you out there on the train trying, I'm probably going to give you some change. But if you're half-assing it, probably not.
You had asked me before, Phines, quite some time ago, what I thought might be the cause of so much crime, killings in Philadelphia. And one of the things that I think, another factor, I mentioned the fact of the finances, but I also think that hard drugs are a big factor.
Yeah. I think the bigger wage gap between two places, I think that has a lot to do with murder, but I don't know. I guess I haven't really looked into it that hard, but I wouldn't be surprised if, the haves have a lot and you have nothing, and you're still having nothing, and it makes you want to. I bet it makes you want to go to drugs and killing.
Yeah. Also, the pharmaceutical companies like pumping a bunch of substances legally and then illegally into the system for profit is not helping, I don't think. But
it's a vicious cycle. It's not getting any better.
Oh no.
Yeah. So what I think I've posed this question a couple times to guests on the podcast, but if you took the reins, if you had the country for a day, what would you do to change everything, to fix everything, Tom?
Oh God.
No pressure.
I don't know what I would do because I don't know what I can do. And I don't know how I could change. I don't know how I could change adult feelings or what people do, because you get, you grow up and I mean, some people don't grow up, but they have their, everything it's just ingrained in their system about how they are. It's, when kids are small, I look at this with my younger grandchildren. It's like they may fight with somebody, but they don't hate anybody. And for some reason, as people get older, all of a sudden they get, they really get a mean streak in them. And I don't know how you could possibly change that. It's like, again, I don't know what I could do. I don't know what, honestly, I don't know what I could do. I mean, there's the things I think about, give everybody X amount of dollars, but what does that do? How do you change them? And that's the hard part, I think. I mean, I just, as a side story, my dad fought in World War II. And he was in the Atlantic for a while doing convoys back and forth from the States over to the Mediterranean. And then he went into the Pacific. And then when he was in the Pacific, my dad, I used to sell my last 20 years of working. I sold copiers and fax machines. And he used to complain because he says, "You're working for the Japanese." And I said, "Yeah." And he hated because of World War II and what he saw in World War II. He had no love for the Japanese, and there was nothing I could do to change his outlook about that. And I didn't even try. But I mean, I looked at it as that, you know, basically what the Japanese did and what they were producing, and the companies I worked for, they provided the goods that we were able to sell to people, and you know, I made a living off of that the last 20 years of my working life. But my dad just, it was this extreme hate for the Japanese because of what he saw, and I could never. There was nothing I could do to change that, and I knew that. And so I just said, "Well, Dad," I said, "the Japanese, I make a good living because of the Japanese." You know, so I don't know.
It's very hard to change people's thinking. Very hard, but
Yeah.
people can change over with maturity in time as they get older. But it is very difficult to change.
That's how I see myself regarding, you know, things that are going on in the world today. With, you know, I say with my granddaughter transgender, friends we have who are gay, gay, lesbian. It's been I grew. It's like I grew as a human being.
Yeah.
And what did it? I don't know really what did it. I think it's just you see people who are happy, and you know, it's fine. I'm not going to go throwing a hamburger at somebody because I can't get, you know, can't get.
Yeah. You know what though? I think having someone in your family or knowing someone closely that's other does help out quite a bit, because like say your father, say somehow, you know, you had like a Japanese grandchild, and then maybe he'd be like, wow, Japanese children are okay. They're not as bad as I thought they were because I now have a grandchild that's a Japanese person. But you know, I know that's easier said than done. It's a lot easier to, or a lot more feasible to have a LGP acronym, an acronym child, rather than a different race child. But you know, hey, I bet you know that whole polarization. I think also too, when we get older, we get polarized. We start hanging out with our own group of people, and we don't get to hang out with the different groups. So you kind of get stuck into your ways, set in your ways.
Well, I think what you're saying is very. You get your you know, I'll call it your peer group. You have your friends, your peer groups, and a lot of times they all have the same feelings that you have. I know when in the places we lived, especially when we lived in a condo, a 55 plus condo for 12 years, pretty much everybody had the same thoughts, and everybody was pretty much, I'll say, besides being old, yeah, we were mature. You know, there may have been a couple of people who didn't agree with what, you know, some things, but on the whole, that whole community was very supportive of everybody. But then you get communities like, I said, when my dad was brought up, everything was really polarized, and he carried that through the years.
Yeah.
I don't, and again, I don't know how you change that. I really don't.
Sierra, Phines, Brandon, I'm going to have to hang up on you guys. I enjoy this, but my wife made dinner arrangements with her son tonight, and I got to get going. So it's lovely talking with you guys.
No problem. We're
do it again.
We're over time for you, Grandpa. It's 5:03, so I apologies to keep you over the time.
Not a problem at all. But I hope to I hope to be online with you again.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Nice talking with you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, Tom, I really appreciate you being on as a guest. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Hi, I am having problems with this green screen feed. It's like I get kicked out and the connection, but glad you can hear me now.
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah.
Hello.
It does that to me as well. Sometimes it kicks me off, but very happy to have you on. You're from Houston, right?
I'm actually from Oakland, California, but I live out this way.
Ooh.
Oh, very
Ooh,
cool.
yeah, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for
No,
coming
that
and for your
yeah.
patience.
Thanks
Oh,
so
my
much.
pleasure. My pleasure.
We had the slightest amount of technical difficulty today. I don't
The
know if you
slightest.
guys saw with Grandpa when Tom was the phone call and
You're
but
Well, it happens with technical. As I'm telling you, with the environment we're in now, it's really imperative for these internet companies and just these other services to get it together because everybody's pretty much online now, and a lot of people, like my children's school, they had denial of service attack the first day of
Mhm.
school.
Oh wow.
So on
Wow.
their internet, so everything kind of was down. So I understand the technical difficulties in anything at this
wow.
point.
Hmm.
Are they going back to school like physically and stuff
Yeah.
or
So one of them is in kindergarten, and she just started on last week or this week, just on Tuesday, and they're doing virtual for the first 2 weeks. And it's been really funny. It's been really great seeing like 5 and 6 year olds like
Hmm.
get on camera because my background is actually in IT, so I've been doing virtual meetings for years. So I
mm,
understand the hiccups that come in, just with adults, and just to see these kids on Zoom, it's
That's
really
funny.
hilarious. But yeah, like for instance, the instructor, if you know Zoom, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Zoom, how it works. If somebody starts talking, if the background is not muted, then the camera goes.
Yeah.
yeah. we're on Zoom now. We might not know how to work it
Like the
perfect,
instructor was
but
in the
No.
did Aisha
She
hop out or
disappeared.
got disconnected? Oh man, it's all right. How are you doing, Sierra?
I'm okay. I'm great.
This has been a wild ride of an
This has been a
episode.
wild. It's been a wild episode. Let me tell you.
kick me out once
Yo, so
again. Can
many.
you hear me?
Yeah,
Hey.
we hear
Yes.
you now.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. So I was listening in on you guys' conversation. So what's the tea?
Yeah, let's spell it right. um, yeah. Well, I just wanted to hop back real quick. I have a friend. She's teaching 8th grade, and it's like half in Zoom. Like 1 week they do online, and the other. And she said it's a nightmare because all the kids are like DMing each other and like going to like 8th graders. They go crazy. So
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's gonna pay attention. I mean, I know how I was when I started when I was an intern. We were doing virtual meetings, and this was like 10 years ago. And we were like DMing each other. We were like college grads, but we didn't care. Like we didn't want to really be doing work. So I could understand someone in high, someone un, that's not an adult that has like responsibilities and is like, okay, I need to be on this virtual meeting. They first of all, they don't want to be there. Kids can't sit for a long period of time, and it's just I can see how it's a nightmare. It was a total nightmare for my child the first day, when they got that internet attack, and
mm,
for I really felt for the teacher, but it was hilarious to me at the same time. But it's like, okay, we we know where we are. Like this is the turn of the tree, I guess. Like this is where we're at. So we have to try to figure it out. Like maybe you guys need to hire people that are savvy, more tech savvy, because a lot of these school districts are extremely archaic. Their processes, their procedures are extremely archaic. I mean, in the class, I mean, my child's kindergarten class, the teacher was just kind of reading a book, and I'm like, okay,
Mm.
my daughter's been learning Spanish and sign language since she was like 6 months old. So let's step it up. Like I read
Yeah.
books to her, like she's reading books herself, almost can read. So let's step up the instructions. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here?
Hmm.
Because it's like, in a minute, it's almost like, and can you guys hear me? I don't know if I'm going in and out.
Yo, no,
no,
you're
you're
good.
here. Yep.
Oh, okay. In a minute, it's like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I will take her out and put her in private school, and the private schools are in person. right now. They're doing their own thing.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
How's that work?
wow.
Yeah,
What do you?
well, what do I think about it?
Well, and how are they giving you information about like how the safety measures are with private school? Like what goes on with that?
Is that's
Yeah.
the laws are allowing it to happen in Texas, right? Like it's legal.
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, my youngest, she's still in preschool, and they just, they are all in person, and they just don't allow parents in the school, and they have very high standards in terms of hygiene and everything, cleanliness and everything else. They up their standards, but they're not allowing anybody in the class. So you just, basically drive up and drop your child off, and have to have faith in that whole process. But
Yeah.
when I was speaking to one
Yeah.
of the administrators about it, like, well, how do you kind of mitigate that? Because kids are disgusting. I'm sorry, like kids
Yeah.
get sick all the time,
They're
period.
nasty.
Yeah. So how do you know that this is just not like a common code and stuff like that? And she told me just because of the standards that they've applied, kids are not getting as sick as they used to. They used to see like pink eye all the time, flu all the time, but they're not really seeing it. So just them being more clean, I think has just helped overall. And I
Mm.
I have faith in it because I mean I'm a pretty straight shooter, and I don't really I'm not going along with this whole epidemic, pandemic, or whatever people want to call it. I worked for the pharmaceutical companies for almost like I don't know, like 8 years, and I understand that there are certain things that they like to push in terms of like vaccines and everything else. And I'm not at all comfortable with, the testing measures, the testing kits, because in my experience, I've worked in IT quality for pharmaceutical companies, and there is a very long process that they have to go through in order to approve certain medical devices. A testing kit is a medical device. So how all of a sudden this thing comes out and you guys already have testing kits ready to go? That's
Yeah.
not even that doesn't work. The FDA has to approve. If drugs usually take like 10 years to be
Hmm.
vetted and approved. So how, what I'm saying? So I don't trust any of it. And like
Yeah.
I'm not saying
You
that.
think it could be? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go
Go
on.
ahead. Go ahead. No, no, I was just
No,
gonna
no,
say
no.
I'm not
I'm
saying
just
that it's not. Oh, I was just saying that I'm not saying that there's no validity to it. That there's not a thing. There's not some type of virus. Absolutely, there's a lot of man-made viruses, and there's a lot of viruses that just come from monkeys or whatever trees. I don't know, but there's a lot of things going around, and we get sick all the time. We get flu all the time. We get diabetes. We get everything. But I think that the way that they're handling this is it's a little bit weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really aligned with it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
Well, it is a
Sorry,
little
we're working
like
with a little bit of lag
no,
here.
it is kind of like weird in the sense of like even the money being sent into the account, like and money being given, like when this whole situation happened, I went from like
Mm.
the fact that they just imaginarily like give me all this money, or money was available
Mm.
for like just um just people to just get out of nowhere, and I'm like, dang, where was this at like a couple years ago when I really needed some money?
Throw you some debt,
And
right?
where did all this, where all this magical money to help the system out? And it really did kind of throw a wrench into the whole like psyche of me dealing with this whole system. 'Cause I'm like, first of all, there's money that can given to me. That means they can feed. There was money out here. So you let the fact that people were just dying because they didn't have money just seems really like it really made me sketchy. I'm like, something's up now that like they just randomly gave me, I'm unemployed during this time. And the fact that they started going from like the unemployment to like, oh, this money was in my account. And it was just kind of like, um, it really was like making me think about why I've been struggling for this long when they could have been giving us money and it helped out the economy and people were spending money and, but same goes with, I don't all the way agree with what you're saying about the validity of the vaccine and stuff, but that's because I don't know enough either. But I do completely get what you're saying about like I know it takes more than just like it takes more than like a year or so to get like a vaccine. They have to test it on people, and I think this is the same thing with the money. Like they're throwing at us to make us feel like good for a second. Like, oh, shut these people up, give them something.
Well, it just goes to show you that for X amount of years, when they're like, well, we don't have money for these programs, there's no way to get cash for it, and it's like, oh well, we actually do need it. Okay, all of a sudden it appears. Like it was as easy as you spending a day in Congress and signing some papers, But I would love, Sierra, you seem like you had some thoughts.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I vibe with that. Like, just like it's there's such like I feel bad because there's such like kind of like confusion in certain areas between like what is real, what is vitally important, what is being like what's the word, like over exaggerated, what is being like underemphasized. And I feel bad like when I feel bad that like some people like in some communities like Florida, for example, is just like a hot mess. And I know that there's like normal people in Florida that like are taking that like take it serious, that take the pandemic seriously. I know there's like other people in Florida that just like don't want to do that. And I've like been talking to different people on the phone, and we've just been talking about how crazy it is that like some people think it's like super a really big deal, like I'm not leaving my house, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And there's other people like your neighbor or like your sister could just be like, you know, I'm sure it'll be fine. And I feel like part of that is just a big part of that is just because there's not like a cohesive message coming down from like leadership. Like some cities are doing one thing, but your governors are doing something else. And then it's like your governor may want to do one thing, but the president wants to do this. And then your congressional senator is like saying, well, I want to do this. And it's like, there just hasn't been a cohesive message of like what is vitally important, what isn't important, what needs to be focused on, what doesn't need to be focused on, as far as like being safe and the best way to be safe. And that's frustrating to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Since we're on this subject and I want to talk about it, I was talking to someone the other day on the other end that they were a naysayer. They don't like the mask and whatnot. So what do you think about? Are you for the mask? And their theory was that when you breathe out the mask, you're like breathing in carbon dioxide, so you're gonna die sooner. What, Sierra? Do you know? Do I know?
Do I know that breathing a mask will give you carbon dioxide poisoning? Do I know if that's factual?
We should see the average lifeline of a surgeon to see if they die a lot younger. Because then we would know. How you know? I'm just.
You know what?
Surgeons could be dropping dead at 26, and we don't even know it.
You know what?
You can't even get to a surgeon by age 26.
Right.
It's probably most of his breathing training to get to that point of wearing the mask.
I just feel like we wouldn't be so far along in scuba diving if that was the case.
And firefighting.
Okay, but those have those masks have ventilation on them. The masks we're wearing,
it's just saran wrap, just right across. Right, you can't do nothing else.
Yeah, I don't like wearing the mask. I go out and I hold my breath.
Yeah, yes, please. Yes.
Oh, are you talking to me? I'm sorry.
I'm talking to you.
I just wanted to make sure my thing is still working. So my thoughts are, you talked about the firefighters and, everyone else who's been wearing these certain types of masks that are effective. I have really close friends who are in the construction industry and they deal with chemicals and heavy metals and stuff like that, that exert certain, very life-threatening chemicals. And they use certain masks. The masks that we're using are very ineffective. And the thing about it is a lot of people are using certain like reusable masks, stuff like that. How do you clean them? Because there's particles in the air, period. So they're going to collect all kinds of stuff, especially when people wear them in the car, which is the silliest thing to me. but there's so much stuff that's in your vents, that's in your air. That's why we have air filters. That's why we, emphasize in our own homes that we want to keep the airflow going. But you have a mask on your face that you're taking off, putting it on your dashboard or wherever that's collecting dust, collecting bacteria, and you're putting it directly on your nose. Your nose is an airway. That's a pathway to your body. That's, you can get a lot of diseases just from, things touching your nose, touching something and then touching your nose because it's a direct entry point. So the fact that we have something on our face consistently that we don't know, if this is even containing any type of viruses that are unknown. Because like I said, there's all kinds, COVID is not the only thing, so I think that the mistake here is that the focus is only on COVID and not on other things that we can catch. And so when we implement this mask, I think it's a waste because you can still, if this is really truly, because I haven't heard them really nail down how this is caught. Like, is this airborne? Is this through touch? Is this, how exactly is this transfer? So if this is really airborne, that virus is going to seep through those weak masks. Those are very weak masks. If it was truly the epidemic, and this is just my own opinion, if it was truly an epidemic and it was truly something that we needed to cover our masks, the government, as quickly as they gave us money, they would have supplied us with the masks that are those breathable, the ones that have oxygen in them, are like the gas masks, like stuff like that. Like if this were really truly, because they're just saying wear anything. I see people wearing sun shields. Like, what is that doing? If it's airborne, it's gonna go right under there and go through your nose. Like, it's just, it's not the right way. And that's why I feel like there's really a lot more to this. And I can go into that, but I don't want to get, because I'm on some other stuff.
No. I mean, no. This is great. I'm great because I just have a conversation close to someone about this in the same realm. So I'm asking them the same questions, and I'll make the same statement too. Though I say that it is a lot easier for me as a person to take money from the government than it is a mask. I'll take. I'm never going to say no. I'm not going to say no as an American citizen to somebody give me money, but I might say no to someone give me a mask and offering that. So that one I would ask about that. But I also would say is, so this is the whole thing with the mask too, is it can't hurt, is my argument. Like, besides wearing it and not wearing it, between the two, I just think that it's like, why not, almost type of thing.
But Aisha, you're saying that you were saying that it can hurt though, right? You're saying that you believe the masks can like gather up other things that are on the mask that you put on your nose.
Absolutely. If you're not cleaning them effectively, how do you clean them? Are there instructions that were provided with that mask on how to properly care for it and how long the lifetime is on it? Like, how do you clean it? See, I don't wear the disposable masks. I don't wear the masks that you buy. I wear bandanas because this is what construction workers wear. So I wear things that will actually, kind of block particles, something in that I can wash every day. You know what I'm saying? Like something that's cotton, something that's breathable, something that that's what I, choose. And I think my opinion is what's more effective.
Well, I know that most of the cloth masks that like people like are making are the kind that you can buy. It's like very similar to a bandana where you can just like throw it in the wash and like let it like air, like I let mine air dry. And I agree, there's some people that just like seem to think it's okay to just keep one mask and then just keep throwing it on the floor of their car and then digging it back up, and I'm like, okay, well that's not helping. That's not helpful. That's just like dumb. But like so I get where you're coming from with that, but I have several, like my family and I have like several masks that we just like, we wash it every time we come, like every time I come home, I wash whatever I just had on, and then I'll get a new one, or I'll get like a different one if I need to go out again or do something else.
See, that's good.
I should stop keeping my mask in my sock drawer.
Bruh.
Right. Yeah.
I'm I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's interesting. It is a lot of you know, I don't trust the government. I will say that for the most part, but I also am
I
going to
don't
wear a
trust. I
mask.
wouldn't necessarily say the government though, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
I wouldn't
please.
necessarily say the government because I feel like the government is kind of outside. They don't know what the heck they're doing, and I think that
Yeah.
at this point, it's the private companies that have literally taken over. You have Bill Gates, who's driving the whole
Hmm.
epidemic conversation. He is a Microsoft computer genius. How did he become the leader of healthcare? You know what I'm saying?
Money.
So when you have these private companies who are really leading the charge, and I'll be honest and say that it's pharmaceuticals who are backed by banks. One of the largest pharmaceutical companies that I work for is owned by Roche, which is a
Hmm.
huge bank that's a family-owned bank that actually funded the Nazis back in the day. So, but they own pharmaceutical companies. So I think, I get what you're saying about not trusting the government. And I think that this is something that's been ingrained in our society, and ingrained in our culture too. But, and I get it, but I think in this situation, a lot of them are very ignorant to even what to do because
Yeah.
these private companies are really running the show. They are
Yeah.
answering to they are answering to banks. How are the banks running out of money? How do you go to the ATM and there's no money? You know what I'm saying? Like what?
Yeah.
Like
That.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, they can't. They
No.
can,
No.
and the government can't do anything about it.
Yeah. You're right. That you even said both those things about the government and between corporations. I tend to tie them together just because, just like you said, they're all the same evil. I mean, they're well, not the same evil. One is because Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates have so much money, they are the government, and that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I but just like you're saying though, but yeah, all that being said, um, man, it's hard. I still one of me. This is like I'm still probably gonna wear a mask, and it goes back to like we were talking about earlier. I just rather take my risk of uh, the risk of breathing in carbon dioxide and having some germs on my nose from my mask being a little
Just
dirty
to go
rather
back,
than yes.
I I know that you were saying like, oh, let's not like go deep into it, Aisha. But I'm curious because it seemed like you alluded to about like maybe conspiracy, like it was a conspiracy by the government. Um, I'm curious on your thoughts about that.
Okay, so okay, here we go. So thanks for asking. So I think that this is a bigger plan, right? Because I've been just listening to Robert Kiyosaki, Bucky, Buckmeister Fuller, who died a long time ago, who predicted that around this time, I think it was maybe even 2019, 2018, that the condition that we were in terms of the economy, that we were going to go into another Great Depression. And if you look back and if you see like Great Depression that happened a long time ago, maybe in England, the same thing happened. They shut the government down. There was no jobs. They started, shelling out money to individuals. There was no work for years. So I think what's going on here is that we're just in the hole on a global scale, and we're in a Great Depression. So in order to disguise what's really going on, they released this unknown, can't see, can't breathe it, don't know what it is, this monster of a virus to justify why they need money, why they need to print more money, why we're in this mega trillion dollar debt. Like they're not even releasing the true numbers, but we're in a heck of a debt. Um, and I'm sorry, my 2-year-old's in the back and I can't control her. She's just jumping on the bed. But I just really feel like it's a bigger thing here because when you look at like SARS, swine flu, these man-eating viruses that took over, yet we were still out working. Like nobody was wearing masks, nobody was wearing protective gear, nobody was wearing, there was no really things nothing really put into place. But there's this invisible virus that nobody can see, touch, and really articulate. How do you get this? What standards, what measures are in place to really shield and guard against it? Oh, you want to make people stay in the house? Like, no, like, we want to keep people apart. And I think, I think it's, the budget. I mean, the state of the economy. I think that was the biggest thing. They had to take down the economy. They had to. This is my thought. And in order to reboot, this is a whole reboot. And in addition to that, we're living in a digital age. So I think that they're trying to change things where, we watch these sci-fi movies where computers take over. This is a thing. Computers are smarter than humans at this point. There's artificial intelligence that makes hamburgers. McDonald's is going to be replaced. We've seen it with self-checkout. Like, that's nothing. But McDonald's, hamburger makers, everything, like, people are going to be replaced. So I think that this is one reason that they can phase these things in and allow us to be comfortable and complacent. And I just feel that as a human race, like, if we just look back at the Great Depression and looked and saw, like, what kind of measures the government put into place to control people. I was literally reading a book, and it was an autobiography. And the man, I think they died in like 1970 or 80 or something. But they literally went through the same thing that we're going through right now, where the government shut it down. But this was attributed to the economy. But it was the same thing. They were on lockdown. They couldn't leave their homes. There were no jobs. There was just so many things so many similarities. And we talk about history repeats itself. I think that this is what's happening, and the government is trying to be smarter about it and aligning now that they have, global power and global alignment, that they have created this mega monster to make more money. This is bottom line about money. I'm in, like I said, I have a background in IT and I work for pharmaceutical companies. The only people, like, I get calls from recruiters all the time. The people that are hiring, there's so many people out of work. The people that are mega hiring are pharmaceutical companies. They are hiring like crazy. And these jobs, I'm talking about, these are 6-figure positions where the rates aren't going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you hire an IT project manager where the rate, hourly rate maybe last year was, I don't know, $60 an hour. It's $85 an hour right now. It's $90 an hour right now. Right now, in this epidemic where people are on welfare and everything else, these pharmaceutical companies are kicking ass. So tell me why. Where are they getting this money from? Where are they getting the fund? The pharmaceutical companies they get funding from the government to test all this stuff. So the more that they say that, these numbers are X, Y, Z, this is where we're at, they get more money. So, and when these homes and these hospitals are reporting COVID cases, they get more money. They get more money. The bottom line to me is about money and control, complacency, testing the waters with the people to see how much control we can have over them. I mean, if you notice, I'm talking too much, but if you notice, we have no real leadership other than the government now. Like, back in the day, there were groups that were leaders. There were hippies. They were all for power to the people. We don't have that anymore, and the government knows that. So if they can get us in a place where we can be complacent, they can do anything. They can do anything. Like, they can release. Bill Gates released mosquitoes that they've been testing in labs. They released that in Jamaica and in Africa and other places to test viruses, to test their vaccines. This is what these companies do, so
Wait, hold on. You gave me so much stuff because it's good. I got so much to say. Okay, where do I start?
I have a question.
I
have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about like history repeating itself with like the depression and then the consequences or the like after effects of the depressions the economic depressions that you've seen in the past here and abroad. So could it be possible that this current depression is a result of the virus and not like the other way around, creating a virus to hide a depression?
Heck no. This Great Depression, when I brought up Buckminster Fuller and Robert Kawasaki, they have been looking at trends in, the economy over the years. And we've been, especially with the Obama administration, there was a lot of debt that was taken out. There was a lot of debt that we, put onto the American people. So if you look at the trends, we've been going up and up and up and up in debt. And since I think like 2007, and don't quote me because I'm not a financial analyst. Okay? In 2007, you can start to see like a huge jump in debt and a huge jump. So it was already predicted by these two individuals and even Buckminster Fuller a long time ago that there was going to be a huge crash around this time. They predicted it. I remember listening to this and reading this like in 2015, and I was like, okay, that's interesting, And to answer your question, no, I really think that this was a planned thing. How do they have testing? I mean, sorry.
But and how you're saying the U.S. government, or I mean, because it's the entire typically, or
well, I thought it was the U.S. government initially, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now we hear you. Yeah, you gotta
He's just lagging a little bit.
Sorry. I thought it was the U.S. government initially, and that's what they were saying, the U.S. government. But if you've noticed over the years, they've been acquiring global alignment with the murder of Gaddafi and the murder of these, people that wanted to transition to the gold standard, the gold coin. Because here's another thing, and I'm just going to throw this out there. The Bitcoin thing, trying to eliminate cash. Cash is not backed by anything. We used to have gold and silver. That was backed. Now we have cash, and now they're going to digital. Like they're looking at, I see stores, you're not able to even pay with cash anymore because they're like eliminating change. Like, how do they not have enough change? But I think that that's actually a plan to get us to a digital currency. So with digital currency, you're not able to track anything. You can't, somebody can just put $1 million in my account tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I can't believe I was having this conversation twice. Like I swear I just had a conversation with someone, almost them saying very similar things to me about all this, and I am not a complete believer of conspiracy theories, but I would think there's some truth to everything. So I think there's a middle ground where there's like some I think there's some blood on everyone's hands here. But I do think, sometimes I think like, see, it goes back to them giving us money instead of a mask. Like, okay, like if they gave us masks, we wouldn't take them, right? But we'll take money. And let me see, would I take a chip that would fit money on? Digital money. I don't also talk about a history repeating itself. The Spanish flu is very, very similar to the corona, and what happened there. And we did a lot of the same. Americans did a lot of the same things that we're doing now. And again, I don't agree with you in a lot of things, but I agree with you on some things. I think that there is a pandemic actually going on. I think people are actually dying. I honestly think that it's a little insensitive to speak about it. So like, even if the government did it, because, the government could do a lot of things. They could have 9/11, all this stuff like that. But all that being said, people did die. People's lives are lost, I think, to a sickness.
What's the numbers though? What's the numbers on corona deaths? Not the illnesses. It's still like in 100,000, right?
Well, in Texas, it's a little over 9,600.
And even if it was, even if it was, say, a very small amount of numbers, there is a sickness and there is a death associated with it. So the disease is here. There is something that, even if the numbers are completely inflated because of flu and flu death and respirator deaths and all the other death that goes with it, you can't not say that there isn't. Well, you can say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean double negative. you can say whatever you like, but I think there is a nugget of truth that people are dying from a sickness. And to completely X-nay that out is just not, it's not helping nobody, you know? Like,
Right, but I didn't say that I don't believe that there's a virus. I absolutely do. Whether
yeah.
it was man-made, like HIV is a virus, but we all know that that was not, that was made in the lab. That, you know, people came out and stated that. But I'm not saying that it's not, it does not exist. What I'm stating is that, and I don't want to get, you know, too deep into it. What I'm stating is that people die every day. They die from heart attacks. They die from flu. And I'm not trying to be insensitive about it, but we have to take a step back and really look at this and say, you know, that look at the numbers of people who die from the regular flu annually. How many people die from, you know, other illnesses annually? And I mean, this death happens. But to quarantine a whole world because of 100, you're talking about in the world, there've only been 100. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch the news, to be honest. So I don't know the actual figures. But comparatively speaking to like the swine flu or Ebola and something that was very detrimental, I think that the steps that we are taking are a little bit exaggerated. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would say a couple of things. I would say, so I looked it up. And what I see right now is just that overall deaths in the United States from this disease, which you have to take with a grain of salt because you don't know what's been underreported. You don't know what has been diagnosed as a death because, oh, well, I, you know, had this disease, but then I contracted COVID and that made it all worse. So you don't know what exactly, you got to take the number with a grain of salt. But that number right now is 166,000 people have died. And that's the number that we have based on us saying in March, all right, we're all going to try our diggity darndest to not spread this. We're going to try to take some measures to keep people safe, keep them isolated so that they're not putting each other at risk. So that's what we did. That's the number that we have now when we sort of tried to like not spread the disease. So like I've heard other people mention like, oh, well, we die from the flu with this, or we die of cancer. This many people die of cancer, but like I can't get a heart attack. Like you can't give me a heart attack by like talking to me. Like you can't give me cancer by like shaking my hand or giving me a gift or handing me a box. Like that's the big thing is like it's not even just like how many people have died, it's just how easily you can die. And even if you don't die from it, there are so many like other things. What do you call it? Like there's a lot of different subsequent health conditions that people are dealing with now that are just putting them at risk forever. Like I was telling my my aunt the other day, I'd be upset if I was like a child athlete right now, for instance, if I was like a soccer player or something. It would suck, but I would take that year off because if I caught it, like if I was like a cross country runner, if I was like a cross country runner or like a track and field person or something like that, and I caught COVID, even if I survived, like my athletic career would be over because the subsequent lung damage would just completely like cripple me in terms of athletics.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: how many people are living in the United States? Do you have that number? Like how many millions of people?
330.
330 million. So you put that against the 166,000. What percentage of people have actually died compared to the people that are living? And I ask that because there are going, and if you probably go back to last year and see how many people died from this disease, there are going to be people dying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
My question is, what number is enough for you? Is it?
I'm just saying that
300? No. I'm not. It's not rhetorical. I'm really asking if we're playing percentages. Like what number is the high enough number that you would feel comfortable giving up some social liberties such as quarantining, etc. Like what
so
percentage?
I can't answer that because I'm not afraid of death, because everybody lives and dies. So I can't determine and I can't put a label on how somebody else died. So if they're passing away truthfully from COVID or from leukemia or from cancer, it's unfortunate, but that's the cycle of life. We all are
Sure.
going to die. Children die, babies die coming out of the womb, and I hate it. It's devastating. I've seen
Sure.
it with my own eyes. I can't say that doesn't make me happy to hear that anybody is losing their life, but I do understand that there is a cycle of life. Our life will end. We have an expiration date, and we don't know what happens after that expiration date. So my thought, I could never put a number on, hey, because first of all, you can fear for your life, you can fear from COVID and go right outside the door and get hit by a car. So I don't want that person to get hit by a car, but they did and they
Yeah.
died. So that's just
Yeah.
my thinking.
No, I mean, I get that, but I guess what brings the hypocrisy or the contradiction is like you work for a pharmaceutical company that they give medicine to
Work,
prolong life, like, or they
work.
worked at it. So say I got diabetes. If it was your logic was correct, then you wouldn't give them any insulin because this is tough. That's how life is, yo. Like, fuck it.
Right. So I think that there are people placed on this earth to prolong our lives. I think that there are viruses that were created in medicines that were created to kill those viruses. I think that there are intentions to things, and I think that there are some things that we just catch and we just die. But I don't think it's contradictory at all because when I worked in IT, I worked on systems. I worked away, far, far, far from the patient. I work on the actual computer systems that will allow pharmacists to facilitate those drugs, calculate or formulate, things like that. I worked on that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Okay.
it wasn't, but at the end of the day, I was still working for a drug company. But it was just a little bit different how I saw it. And I could be ignorant for me to see it that way. But at the end of the day, when you're working a job, you're working for money. You're not working to be like, oh my God, I'm so for their credo and I'm so for, building up something. No, how much are you paying me? All right, cool, let's get it. Like that's that's how I saw it. And coming from a IT background, this is a great job. They're paying me. I have great bonuses. I'm meeting some great friends. That's how I saw it. But I work for pharmaceutical companies. I don't work for pharmaceutical companies anymore. So
Right.
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um,
I sorry for me. We're a bit over time, and I gotta get running pretty soon. But I would love last thoughts from Sierra, and Phines, everybody. Just before we head off, not to interrupt the flow of the conversation. I just have to get going.
So you interrupt the flow of the conversation.
I think we should.
It's okay. We get it. This was going down a rabbit hole that was never going to stop. You get me going.
No,
I'm always gonna.
Sure, I open up the can of worms for sure. But
and I'm sorry, Andrew, this is great, and I appreciate.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love debating about especially someone that I have different viewpoints from. As long as it can be like kosher and we can talk normally about it, I'm all for it. Maybe I learned some things. But yeah, thank you. That was my last words. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, Sierra.
Nah, you're golden. Do I have a last word? I don't know. I don't know. I would just final words. This is the whole episode has just been like extra wild. Like the whole episode, like we had technical difficulties. We had like some other people come in. It was it's been a fun episode. What can I say? I will agree with you on one thing, that I don't know what my government will decide to tell me next, but I will be waiting for whatever the WHO, whatever the World Health Organization says. If they come out with some like sick tea or some sick deets on what to do next, I'd jump over there. I'd jump on that train. I'd see what's going on in that maybe first before anything else. That's my final word.
Aisha.
I just want to thank you guys for your time. This has been a great discussion. It's really good to just hear the thoughts of just everybody else in this whole, epidemic. And I appreciate you guys sharing with me, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for being patient with the internet and all the confusion there.
Coming on.
It's all good.
All right, outro, Brandon.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride. My grandfather's not here for me to tell him I love him, but I do. I'm very grateful for Tom, Aisha, Sunny. I appreciate you spending your time coming on. It has definitely been a roller coaster. I am in the camp. I think we should wear masks. If you're wondering my thing and my advice, I would wear one. I'll take mine out of my sock drawer for sure. Just teasing. No, I'm super grateful for your time and energy, Phines, and so grateful, Sierra. Thank you so much for being on, not just producing, but the conversation. This has been another episode of I guess, I don't know, Grandpa and Chill, Grandpa and me, Kvetch, Wild Ride. I don't know what we're calling this yet, but are you still there, Aisha?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here. I just
Yeah.
muted.
Oh, what would you recommend as a good title for the show? If you could pick
I didn't
one.
hear the whole episode because you guys were talking about like transgenders and stuff. I don't know. You guys were on some different topics. I think that's really, really cool that you guys kept it open. So I don't know. Maybe something about being brutally honest. I don't know. Thank you for asking me though.
Brutally honest with Aisha. Thank you so much.
I'm crazy.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know. If Grandpa was here, I'd ask if he could sing a ballad. But I think just to thank everybody for their time. That's all I have to say. Wear those masks. Yeah.
And birds sing, and it's like dinosaurs
and birds,
screeching.
Yeah. And birds sing to mate. So,
which is just like dinosaurs screeching.
Boom. I think that's it. That's the tweet, and we're out.
Podcasting with Grandpa Barton, Rosie, always on his shoulder. This is Grandpa and Chill.
Grandpa and Chill is brought to you by your hosts, Brandon Fox, Bart Frank, and Phines Jackson. Our producer is Sierra Doss. You can find episodes old and new on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch the show, and follow us on Twitter for behind-the-scenes moments you can't get anywhere else.